You've seen the schedule. So let's not waste each other's time here, because we don't have a lot of time doing the hard stuff that we need to do to get to where we want to go. This is about winning. It's about winning the world championship, period.
It's time for another edition of the Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant Energy, inside the Globe Life studio here at the Star in Frisco. Bill Jones along with Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy. Merry Christmas, happy holidays to all of you and to you, Coach. Of course, it's a busy week for everybody, and it's a big week for the Cowboys. Got an early Christmas present on Thursday night. You're in the playoffs, and now you've got that goal set in front of you on Sunday night against Washington. You can win the division Sunday night.
Definitely. I mean, this is what it's all about. Division games this time of year. And obviously, this is the design of it. So having the opportunity Sunday night to win the division outright, and then obviously then we can look forward after that. But this is a great opportunity against the Washington football team. Obviously just played them less than 14 days ago. So. It's that time of year, so we're excited. Yep, and it's such a unique week too with the holiday. It's been unique for a couple of years now as far as navigating what all's going on with COVID and everything. But I would imagine it's easier to keep your team focused on the task at hand when you have such big things in front of you right now. Oh, definitely. I mean, this is what we've been working for since April. So I think that's been a strength of the mindset of our football team. I think they've done a very good job each and every week identifying the schedules, the adjustments. Obviously, you can't deny what's going on obviously in our community, but also in the league with the COVID positive test results. And so I think the virtual plan that we're utilizing this week has been good so far. We'll continue to do the best we can in this spot, but we'll see how we line up Sunday night. That's kind of how this thing goes, and more importantly, I think our guys have done a really good job and make sure we're getting everybody ready. Been a big week for several of your players, with 5 players named to the Pro Bowl this week. Let's start with the offensive guys. And Tyron Smith, 8 Pro Bowls now. Zach Martin, 7 Pro Bowls in his career. The elite territory that they are in as far as Cowboys in history. Here, let me run down the list of guys. There are 9 players in Cowboys history who have 7 or more Pro Bowl appearances. Bob Lilly, Jason Witten, Larry Allen, Mel Renfro, Randy White, Emmitt Smith, and DeMarcus Ware. That's some stratosphere up there. That's phenomenal company to keep. So, and I think it speaks volumes about both those men in the careers that they have in place and what they're building on too. So obviously great respect for them, and obviously the whole league sees it that way. For you being around these guys the last couple of years, beyond what we see on the football field, what do you see from them behind the scenes? Oh, I love their personalities and their approach. I mean, I think a big part of being successful in anything, particularly our game, is the consistency of the personality, coming to work, being the same guy every day. And I think Tyron and Zach, exemplify that to the max. You feel pretty good when those guys are getting off the bus with you every week. Oh, yeah. They're definitely the guys you want to walk behind. That's right. All right. For Washington, Jonathan Allen made the Pro Bowl for them. He's a Pro Bowl starter. When you look at their defense this week, they're getting some guys back, and they also lost some guys last week. What do you see from Jack Del Rio's defense? I mean, really Payne and Allen inside, and obviously have a Sweat back on the outside. So, I mean, they have a tremendous amount of resources in their defensive front. So, that's where it starts with them. And, that's obviously will be our focal point. You just look at our last game, obviously just what they went through, the challenges they went through for the Tuesday night game in Philadelphia. So a lot of moving parts on the personnel part of it. So I think really at the end of it, you get through the, I call it a midweek, the Wednesday, Thursday focus. And really, when you get to Friday, it's really focused on what we need. One thing about today's NFL, especially the current affair that's going on here the last 2 weeks, we'll just kind of get ready and see how it goes and make the adjustments accordingly, particularly probably in the game. All right, we're just getting started on this edition of the Mike McCarthy Show. Up next, it's David Moore of the Dallas Morning News.
After last year, not getting in there, coming back and just keep working on my game and trying to take it to another level. And so a ton of honor, very proud of some of the things we've accomplished this year, but obviously love to not be in Vegas that time of year. So.
The Mike McCarthy Show, presented by Reliant, is brought to you by AT&T, Ford, built for Texas, built for you. The University of North Texas, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. It's Miller time. And by Reliant, an NRG company. This segment is brought to you by the Dallas Morning News. Nobody does sports like Sports Day. Your home for complete Dallas Cowboys coverage.
The Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant Energy, continues now here inside the Globe Life studio. Bill Jones joined by David Moore of the Dallas Morning News, Sports Day, DFW.com. Merry Christmas, David.
Same to you, Bill.
All right, the Cowboys in Washington on Sunday night. People talk about, okay, winning the division, making the playoffs, that sort of thing. What I want to talk to you about is last week was pretty good to the Cowboys, not only winning against the Giants, but also moving up in the playoff scenario.
It really was, and people were focused on, are you going to clinch a playoff spot? Are you going to clinch the NFC East? Those are both foregone conclusions. What Dallas did was actually better. They moved up from the 4th to the number 2 seed, which immediately people said, well, how could that be? Because Dallas lost to Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay has the head-to-head. That is true if it's a two-way tie, but any three-way tie favors Dallas. And the reason is Dallas is 8-1 in the conference in the NFC. Green Bay is 8-2. All the other teams have lost 3 or 4 games in the NFC. So basically, Dallas can also wrap up any three-way tiebreaker for a seed if they win the Washington game. So I think the takeaway from this is, if you're going to lose to Kansas City, lose to the Raiders, lose to the Broncos, and you're fine.
And so if the Cowboys just keep winning with this game against Washington, Arizona, and Philadelphia coming up, then they're sitting pretty as far as the playoffs
really are,
seedings go. All right, the big bet that's been made here behind the scenes in the locker room, offense versus defense, touchdowns versus takeaways. Who do you want to, if you're a Cowboy fan, who do you want to win that bet?
Exactly. And in a normal stretch, you would be going, what in the world are the defensive guys thinking? There's no way they can do this. Well, they do have a 4-2 lead since the bet started against the Giants. And really, you take it back before, this Dallas defense should have placed the bet probably entering December because they would have an even wider gap right now. But this is something between DeMarcus Lawrence, Dak Prescott. Got a little more details on it in the recent days. The winner gets an all-expense paid-for trip in the offseason. The entire unit is paid for by the other unit. So if the defense stays ahead, the offense has to pay for an off-season trip for all of the defense. And as Micah Parsons said the other day, we know Dak is good for it. And Micah Parsons also said, hey, if they score 10 touchdowns in a game, great, because that means we're going to have a lot of sacks. So this is an example of, I think, how close this team is. And while it would be easy to point fingers and say, well, the offense really isn't holding up their end of it, the defense is carrying this. They came up with a truly good way for the competition to proceed, and both sides feel good about how this is going.
All right, going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. Once again, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to you and your family, David. And when we come back here on the Mike McCarthy Show, Isaiah Stanback joins us in the film room, and we break down those Cowboys takeaways.
This segment was brought to you by the Dallas Morning News. Nobody does sports like Sports Day. Your home for complete Dallas Cowboys coverage. This segment is brought to you by WinStar World Casino and Resort, the casino of the Dallas Cowboys.
And welcome back to the Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant Energy. We're in the film room. Isaiah Stanback joins me now. And let's take a look at this Dallas defense, now tied for the league lead with 31 takeaways, 23 interceptions on the season. What a year they're having. All right, Isaiah, when I see these picks, I say, wow, what a great DB, what a great cornerback Trayvon Diggs is. What a great play a DB made. But there's more to it than that, right?
Absolutely. The defense is all about holistic approach, right? It's all about complementary ball. So a lot of times the defensive backs are benefactors of what's happening up front. And we're going to break it down a little bit and show you guys exactly how this works, okay? So right now, the resurgence of this guy right here, number 11, Micah Parsons, your number 1 draft pick, his ability to get to the quarterback is causing all kinds of havoc up front. And it's enabling guys like D-Law to go ahead and work his way not only from the outside, but now he gets to come in here and pick on these good old guards, offensive guards, that don't have the agility of the tackle. So what we're going to see here is slide protection. The offensive line is sliding. These guys sliding left, 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 and everybody on the defensive line knows that. So D-Law is going to take advantage, and he knows that this offensive guard's eyes are over here. So what is he going to do? He is going to set these two guys up and work his way across and find a seam all the way to Mike Glennon right here, the quarterback, beats his man. He's not paying any attention, finds a seam, gets in there, gets his hand on the ball, pops it up, and now what? Great defensive line play. Who becomes a benefactor of it? This guy right here. Good old Jay Lou finds the ball in the air, takes it all the way as far as he can go. That's an interception that you see and say, oh, Jay Lou did a great job. It was really the defensive front that balled out.
That's right. So Jordan Lewis got the pick there. That was his third of the season. How about the interception by Trayvon Diggs?
Trayvon Diggs, obviously he's killing it. What's he at now? What, 10 interceptions for the year? All right, but what happens up front? I don't know what they call this package. I know when I used to play for the Giants back in the day, I think they called it NASCAR, right? But you have your five best rushers on the D-line here, okay? You have, obviously, you got Gregory, you got Watkins, you got Gallimore, you have D-Law, and then you insert the good old number 11, Micah Parsons. And now what happens is when these guys are all taking care of business, that tackle has to stay on Gregory. This guard now has an unfortunate task of taking on Micah Parsons. Watkins on the center, Gallimore on the guard, D-Law on the guard. Now, what we've been seeing all year long with all these interceptions with all these rushes from Micah Parsons is Micah Parsons has been doing a great job of simply isolating guys on the defensive line. So he's coming right at this guard. Russian takes on half a man. He can't stick with him because of the speed. He finds a way, forces him out the pocket. Now what you see is the quarterback's out the pocket. Look at this hustle by the big man, big 96, Gallimore. He is eating up ground as he's trying to go up there and eat a quarterback, forces an inerrant throw. The ball goes up in the air, and he's throwing it in the direction of who? Trayvon Diggs. Boom, makes another play, interception number 10.
All right, and number 2 in that game. How about the third pick in that game we're going to look at, and that is Malik Hooker.
This is the most impressive of all. All right, I know the defensive line took care of business and benefactors were the DBs, but on this play right here, looks like cover 3 to Mike Glennon. When he looks up here, he sees off coverage and looking inside. He sees one safety on the backside. And for his receiver is going to try to run a little deep in or a post route back here, whatever you want to call it. And what happens is that works against cover 3. It does not work against cover 2. So I want you guys to see here. Right here, we got Malik Hooker, does a great job of acting like he's going to run cover 3. In typical cover 3, his coverage goes back here. These guys go here, here, here. This guy goes back, he goes back, he goes back. Okay, perfect. That's what Glennon believes. At the snap of the ball, look where Malik Hooker ends up. He's at the 48-yard line. Go ahead and snap the ball. All right, as you snap the ball, he is now taking off all the way back here. He has this receiver man-to-man for the most part, but it's really now, if you pause it right here, the coverage has now turned into cover 2, right? With the cornerback sitting down here, and we have our underneath coverage there. Now I want you guys to see the athleticism of Hooker to flip his hips, get back into the play, find the ball, pinpoint it, grab it out the air. He made it look like cover 3 and then went all the way to cover 2. Reminds me of a guy like Palomalu. Amazing play, amazing play. These guys are doing a great job as a holistic defense. Dan Quinn's doing a great job of creating mismatches up front, and these DBs are taking advantage of the opportunities that are presented to them.
And you see why Malik Hooker was a first-round draft pick of the Indianapolis Colts once upon a time. Isaiah, that was a first-round draft pick breakdown of these picks. And the coach rejoins us next here on the Mike McCarthy Show.
Yes, sir. I wanted to be a Pro Bowler and many more things, but I don't want to put too much. I don't want to put no karma on it until the end of the year. So.
Welcome back to the Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant Energy inside the Globe Life studio here at the Star. Cowboys in Washington. It's Sunday Night Football. We hope your holiday weekend is going great. Cowboys trying to finish it for you with a win over Washington. Let's talk about your defense a little bit. We talked a little bit about the Pro Bowlers on offense, a couple of guys on defense, Micah Parsons and Trayvon Diggs, 2 guys with 10 or more in a couple of categories. 12 sacks for Micah Parsons, 10 interceptions now for Trayvon Diggs. I would say they're rather deserving of that.
Oh, outstanding. Yeah, definitely. I mean, you look at just their pure production, their numbers, especially for Micah being in his first year. Trayvon really picked up right where he left off last year. So, yeah, definitely two excellent seasons put together. And, but I think like anything, it's there's 3 games still left too, which is I know the timing of the Pro Bowl comes each and every year, but there's still a lot of football to be left, and these guys may even continue to put up big time numbers.
Yeah, your defense now is in a stretch where 3 straight games with 4 takeaways, and really we illustrated earlier in the show. We focus a lot on the guys making the interceptions, but it's the guys up front putting the pressure on that quarterback that contribute greatly to so many of those picks.
Well, definitely, it goes hand in hand, and that's really why we really keep track of the takeaway opportunities, because, it's like any statistic. If you want to win more games, you have to be in position to win those games more and more, each and every week. But what are the key plays, the critical plays that provide you that opportunity? And it's no different with the takeaways. So the fact that we're able to get the pressure, make the quarterback take an extra hitch or throw off his back foot, slide and throw, that definitely factors into the time clock of any pass, and it gives our guys an opportunity to break on the ball.
I want to ask you about one guy who's made a tremendous impact on your defense, who is a free agent signing in the offseason, Jaron Kearse, leading the way in tackles. His versatility in Dan Quinn's defense gives him so many different ways to use him and use other players on your defense. How big has Jaron been for your defense?
Jaron's been huge, and I think just the fact we're talking about Pro Bowl, he's having a Pro Bowl caliber year, no doubt about it. I just think not only from what he's done production-wise, but what he's done for our defense. He's has the green dot on. He's the communication, the matchups that he's provided us. So he's having a great year, and he's a big part of what we do.
Well, you look at Washington, of course, they had some COVID issues on their team. Looks like they're getting their quarterbacks back this week. Having played them just a couple of weeks ago, the unique nature of that, what about preparing for this Washington offense?
Well, I think the biggest thing is, frankly, it's a division game. I enjoy competing against Ron, and I like the way he, his style of play and schematically how they can match us. So, and this is what division games should be about. So, I think that, frankly, who's up, who's down, we'll continue to work that all the way through Sunday night. But I don't think they're going to get too far away from who they are. They schematically challenge you offensively. Defensively, they do a really good job building around the front, and and it's a challenge special teams wise. I think so. With that, we just got to stay in tune with that, but really build off of what we've established here this last month, because our complementary football has really increased as a football team, and that's what we got to make sure we're getting done each and every week, especially Sunday night.
Talking about complementary football, offense, defense, how about special teams? You got a Pro Bowl punter in Brian Anger, and specifically last week against the Giants. The Giants' field position, a lot of that was created by what Brian Anger was doing punting the football.
Absolutely, and I think it's it's an important point, because you get into every football game, particularly from a decision-making standpoint, and ebb and flow is important. And the confidence that we have in Brian, and particularly not only the ball placement, but the the height of the punt to give the opportunity for the coverage unit to get down there. So field position was huge in our victory, in New York, and that's what we anticipated, because we felt that they, that was all be a key focal point for how they needed to challenge us too. So I thought he knocked it out of the park. He was a game ball winner for that game, and obviously well deserving of the Pro Bowl selection.
All right, when we come back here on the Mike McCarthy Show, we wrap things up with our Unsung Star of the Week. Final couple of minutes here of the Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant Energy, and time now for our Unsung Star of the Week. And I'm going with Mr. Malik Hooker this week after he got the interception. Also had 6 tackles last week against the Giants. We showed earlier in the show that interception really showed the athleticism that he possesses, why he was a first-round draft pick of the Colts several years ago.
No, absolutely. A great athlete, and I think you see it for his ability to play both, up and back, and, particularly a couple of those tackles, one particular where he just shoots the alley, looks like he's shot out of a gun. So, yeah, Malik is clearly comfortable. How we're using him, and I thought he had a heck of a week last week in New York.
And then you look at it. He tested positive for COVID earlier this week. As you navigate through this thing, the depth that you have at the safety position, the depth that you have on the defensive line, we've seen it come to fruition where you don't know from day to day who's going to be up and who's going to be down, right?
Thank goodness for this roster structure right now, and I think it's just really been part of our battle cry all year. We have 84 guys in-house, and we got to make sure everybody's ready because, frankly, I hope, how we practice today will be who we line up with on Sunday, but you know,
You never know. Yeah.
times we're in, so we got to be ready for that.
All right. Merry Christmas once again
Christmas.
to you and your family, Mike, and to all of you out there. We appreciate you joining us here for the Mike McCarthy Show, and we will see you again next week when we ring in the new year with the Arizona Cardinals coming to town.
The Mike McCarthy Show, presented by Reliant, was brought to you by Ford, built for Texas, built for you. Bank of America, the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. It's Miller time. Geico, switch today and see all the ways you could save. And by NFL Game Pass. You'll never miss a game again. Enjoy full and condensed game replays from Week 1 to the Super Bowl.
Appreciate it. Merry Christmas. Great. Merry Christmas. Thank you.